I am ultramarathon runner and best-selling author James Peratt, and today we are going to talk about what may be the most controversial exercise in all of fitness. It's called the Soviet high pull, and we're going to talk about if you should do it, how you should do it, and why the Soviets loved it so much for creating freak athletes not only on their Olympic teams, but also on all of their special forces teams. Now, for starters, is this exercise safe? Well, obviously, if you can't touch your toes, you probably don't want to go out and grab the biggest kettlebell you can and try this exercise. However, like anything else in physical training, it exists on a gradient. Okay, if you've never deadlifted before, if you've never squatted before, you don't want to go low to heavy bar and try to do that on your first day out. However, having said this, if you safely build up to this exercise, there's no reason at all that it's not safe. And the benefits that it conveys are pretty far reaching. I mean, you're getting essentially a deadlift, a Jefferson curl, and a high pull all in one movement. And that's even before you start considering what happens when you add all these things together into a single movement. So if you've never done anything remotely like this, start light, go without weight, go from the ground rather than from a deficit, but just proceed slowly and intelligently, and it's unlikely you're going to have any real issues doing this exercise long term. Now, should you do this exercise? AKA, why did the Soviets love doing this exercise so much with their elite athletes? Well, as Louis Simmons, the founder of Westside Barbell, often referred to as the strongest gym in history, would say, he never met a strong person in his life who didn't have a strong back. And the Soviet high pull is just an excellent exercise for building a strong back, because it is pretty much the only exercise I've found that well and truly trains your entire posterior chain in one single exercise. And that's starting at your calves, going all the way up to your neck. So that is an extremely, extremely valuable trait in one exercise, particularly if you like high efficiency or minimalist training, or on the other hand, if you're really, really looking to build a strong back at the high performance level as well. Now, another thing that makes this exercise so powerful is, as you can see, it obviously trains the lower back. Now, a lot of people start to get stiffness, tightness, or some like repeating injuries in their lower back, and they think the answer to that is to do less, to avoid that range of movement. But we know that that is actually only going to make the problem worse. Okay, if you have a rusty joint on any sort of robot or machine and you simply ignore it, what happens to that joint? Instead, what we want to do is slowly and responsibly get in there, introduce a little bit of grease, a little bit of mechanical loading, and build that joint to a stronger state rather than simply avoiding it. And so when you see this insane lower back flexion here, that's not a bad thing, okay? Assuming you build up to that intelligently, that is going to help you, not hurt you. And building a strong back means a strong spine, and it also means aging and performing without cramps, spasms, and weakness in your lower back. Now, the final thing that this exercise delivers that the Soviets loved, and that personally I love as well, is something called vertical torque. Now, this is something that 90% of gym programs don't address, and 99% of them don't address adequately. And that is your ability to generate massive amounts of upward force. Okay, this is extremely valuable if you're a grappler, if you're a martial artist, if you're really an athlete of any type. But more than that, if you want to build a thick upper back and neck, like all those you see on these Soviet wrestlers or on Olympic weightlifters, that comes not from spamming shrugs, but from being able to rip heavy weight off the ground violently with a massive amount of force in a small window of time. And that is exactly why Soviet wrestlers and so many of their other athletes love this exercise. Now, I want to take just a second to thank this video's sponsor, Masterclass. As many of you know, I don't follow celebrities, gossip, or politics. Not because there's anything wrong with people who do, but because I got where I'm at by spending all of my free time consuming things that make me better. Masterclass has hundreds of classes taught by the world's top experts in dozens of fields. Right now, I'm taking a class called The Art of Intelligence, taught by a group of former CIA agents that teaches you how to use CIA tactics to negotiate situations in everyday life. My favorite tactic is about how to increase effectiveness in any situation by mitigating your biases and processing the world as pure data, just like a veteran intelligence agent. They also have classes on everything from lie detection with an ex-FBI agent to cooking classes with Martha Stewart. And their plans start at just $10 a month, billed annually. But during this holiday season, you can get up to 50% off an annual Masterclass subscription. Just click the link in this video's description or click the QR code below so they know I sent you. Learn from the world's best to become your best with Masterclass. Now, as far as performing this exercise, it's relatively simple. We're going to get a couple benches, or you can also use boxes or even just chairs, and separate them just far enough that your kettlebell is going to have clearance through the middle of them. And then all we're going to do is perform a Romanian deadlift into a high pull. And if you're more advanced with your lower body strength and mobility, or your lower back strength and mobility, you can let the lower back round into a Jefferson curl a little bit. But either way, it's going to look something like this. Start slow, and don't be afraid to just use the partial range of motion, or even start this movement on the ground before you move to the benches to get that extra clearance for those extra few inches of pull. Start low, progress, and there's no reason you can't build an iron lower back over time using this movement. Now, the other cool thing about this exercise is it doesn't require that much volume. Once a week, you can do 2 to 4 sets of 5 to 10 reps and still see a massive improvement in the health of your lower back and your spine as a whole, the muscle in your upper back, and your overall vertical torque power, which also translates to your full body power as a whole. So start there, and if you want to check out Soviet training at a deeper level, I have my GIRYA Soviet Kettlebell System program that just came out, and it is the most historically accurate and researched kettlebell program from the Soviet era on the planet. So I'll link that below, and be sure to subscribe if you guys want some more.